News that no one could have predicted came straight from Los Angeles and instantly shook the global BTS community. What was supposed to be an ordinary day in the midst of the group's packed schedule suddenly turned into a storm of worry. The reason? A rare direct statement from Taehyung about JIN's health. His short but heavy words painted an atmosphere of unease that spread rapidly among fans worldwide. From the very first moment, ARMYs felt something wasn't right. The details of Taehyung's statement hinted that JIN's condition was not as simple as many had assumed. And the situation only grew more emotional when Jungkook, who happened to be in Los Angeles as well, was reportedly unable to hold back his tears upon hearing the news. For ARMYs, this created a heartbreaking image: Taehyung standing with a calm but heavy voice, JIN quietly undergoing treatment, and Jungkook breaking down in tears. This series of events began right after JIN wrapped up a long and exhausting tour. Fans had already noticed that he looked visibly tired, though he kept his trademark smile in front of cameras. JIN has always been the type to conceal his struggles and push through pain, so most assumed he was fine. But behind that bright smile, the signs of exhaustion were there. When JIN flew to Los Angeles, many fans thought his arrival would be met with joy. Taehyung and Jungkook were already there on separate agendas, so his presence was expected to be a reunion moment. Instead, what should have been a happy meeting was overshadowed by shocking medical news. Taehyung, who is known for rarely speaking about personal matters regarding his members, decided this time to speak up. But he didn't deliver a long, detailed explanation, just a few short words that carried enormous weight. He said JIN was in the process of recovery and emphasized that this was not something to be taken lightly. Those words were enough to ignite a wave of speculation. Fans immediately began asking, what exactly was happening to JIN? Was it simple fatigue, or something more serious? The fact that JIN had gone for medical examinations right after arriving in Los Angeles only made things appear more urgent. And when people saw Taehyung's unusual seriousness, the concerns multiplied. To make matters even more intense, eyewitnesses claimed Jungkook cried after hearing Taehyung's statement. For someone as emotionally transparent as Jungkook, his tears spoke volumes. He really cried as if his own pain was being revealed, one witness shared. That image spread across social media like wildfire, reinforcing the belief that JIN's health might be far more serious than fans initially thought. The ARMY community reacted immediately. Across all platforms, hashtags trended with messages of prayer, hope, and deep concern for JIN. Many recalled the countless times he pushed through with a smile despite looking exhausted, and now it seemed as though the truth about his health had finally caught up with him. Speculation grew even more heated because HYB, the group's agency, chose not to provide details. They only stated that JIN was under medical monitoring and receiving the best care possible. But rather than calming fans, that vague statement only raised more questions. Some argued that JIN's condition was simply the result of accumulated exhaustion after years of tours, promotions, and commitments. Others suspected a more serious, long-standing issue. The phrase "not something to be taken lightly" from Taehyung became a focal point of discussion, fueling theories that this was more than just fatigue. But beyond the speculations, what really struck fans was the raw emotional bond between members. Jungkook's tears touched millions of hearts. To many, his reaction symbolized not just fear for JIN but also the deep family-like connection that BTS members share. The Golden Magne, who usually tries to appear strong, showed his most vulnerable side. And that alone convinced fans that this was not just routine news. As the storm of emotions swept across social media, debates also broke out among media observers. Some felt HYB's lack of transparency caused unnecessary panic. Others pointed out that BTS's relentless schedules had long been criticized for pushing members to their limits, and JIN's situation might finally be proof of that. For ARMYs, however, all these arguments mattered less than one thing: JIN's well-being. They demanded clarity, not vague reassurances. They wanted truth, not rumors. Every gesture, every word from Taehyung or Jungkook was dissected, searching for clues to what was really happening. But then came the turning point. Reports emerged clarifying that much of the panic had grown from misinterpretations and exaggerated fragments of information. Taehyung's statement, though brief, was never meant to suggest a dangerous condition. In reality, he was simply emphasizing that JIN needed proper rest and recovery after a long, exhausting tour. His words had been taken out of context, spread widely, and then magnified by fear. Similarly, Jungkook's tears had been misunderstood. While it was true he became emotional during an event in Los Angeles, those tears were not directly connected to JIN's medical situation. Jungkook is known for being deeply expressive, and in that particular moment, his emotions were tied to his longing for fans and his fellow members, not a devastating diagnosis. Two unrelated moments, Taehyung's words and Jungkook's tears, were combined into a dramatic narrative that spiraled out of control. HYB eventually clarified the situation, confirming that JIN's health was not in danger. He had only undergone routine checks, which are standard for artists following long travels and performances. The agency reassured that JIN was in good condition, simply needing time to rest. No serious medical issue was present. In other words, the panic that engulfed ARMY worldwide had been born from a misunderstanding. A short phrase spoken by Taehyung, coupled with Jungkook's emotional moment, was enough to spark global speculation. And because of the intense love fans have for BTS, that speculation grew into a full-blown rumor that spread faster than wildfire. Still, this incident revealed something important: the immense emotional investment ARMYs have in BTS. The speed at which prayers, supportive messages, and worried hashtags flooded the internet proved once again how deeply fans care. But it also highlighted the need for caution. Love must be accompanied by patience and discernment, otherwise fragments of information can easily be twisted into stories that hurt more than they help. The truth, as it stands now, is much calmer than the rumors suggested. JIN is fine, he is simply resting after the immense strain of touring. Taehyung's intention was to remind fans not to pressure JIN into rushing back, and Jungkook's tears were an expression of love, not tragedy. This whole episode serves as a reminder that BTS is more than just a music group. They are a family, with each member carrying the other through struggles and triumphs. And while fans may sometimes let emotions take over, at the end of the day what matters is supporting them with trust, patience, and positivity. So, while the world waits for JIN to return with his bright smile, one lesson remains clear: behind every rumor, there is always a truth that needs to be understood carefully. For now, ARMYs can breathe easier knowing JIN is safe, recovering, and surrounded by love, from his members, from his agency, and from millions of fans who will always stand by him.